Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Spumelele Zondi with your technology and social media news. Now, remember that if you want to be a part of this technology conversation, you can find us on SABC Network. Now, that's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also use the hashtag SABC Network. It's newsnetwork at sabc.co.za on email. Here's what's coming up in the program. Google continues to target its next 1 billion users. This is through a new data-saving app. Arabic startup is trying to get Islamic people interested in cryptocurrency. Our discussion is on intelligent mining. Jan-Adriaan from Deloitte is in studio for that one. Hello, Jan-Adriaan.
Hello, Spumelele.
Now, how easily do players in the mining sector adopt technology?
Well, to capitalize on digital transformation, mining companies need to drive radical change. Many still focus on point solutions, but have recognized the need for a broader organizational transformation.
All right, we'll go deeper into that discussion later in the program. But first, let's start with your technology and social media news. Now, augmented and virtual reality are still new to look at for most people. Therefore, we are constantly figuring out ways of how it can be used. Producer Sandile Hlangani tells us about how they can assist in art spaces.
The accelerating development of virtual reality technology, which lets you escape into another world through a blackout headset, is finally rumbling the art world.
Augmented reality is one of the processes we are using to help, it's a new window to a new world. So using technology as a creation tool for artists. So in particular, artists that aren't digital artists, they're not technically proficient. Using something like virtual reality and augmented reality, we can really help these traditional artists leap into the digital space using technology as that tool.
Virtual and augmented reality opens up possibilities for art creation to become more collaborative and playful, therefore appealing not only to professional artists but also to amateurs and the audience themselves.
So using virtual reality, it's kind of the closest we can get to teleportation right now, right? So what we can do is using 360 cameras, you can go and shoot an environment as you would a normal camera, but it creates an entire 360 image. And then what you can do is once you wear VR headsets, as I turn, I can actually be present in a space without physically having to go there. So doing something like a tour of a lab or a tour of a gallery space or a tour of a neighborhood, I could be based on the other side of the world. Using virtual reality, that can kind of transport me to that place, and I can look around, be present without physically having to be present.
These developments have inspired some galleries and museums to imagine new presentations beyond their walls.
The concept really of using technology and working with contemporary visual artists is to push the technology to innovate, but also to give the artists access to the tools that are available. It took quite a few years for artists in the moving image artwork space to actually get access to the high end of the technology. The technology had to develop, and we thought rather than artists needing to wait for the technology to become more accessible, is let's make the technology available to artists now.
Artists themselves have embraced virtual reality as a medium in its own right.
Art is the path to innovation in general. I think it's a mindset of thinking outside of the box and creating trends that ultimately land up in all sectors and industries. So embracing innovation in art will do the same thing. I think it's the way that it can be pulled out into mainstream and into practicality.
With augmented reality, galleries and museums are superimposing their virtual world right over what's actually in front of you, bringing exhibits and artifacts to new life in new ways.
The next billion internet users will come from developing markets. These are people with low-end smartphones and can't afford expensive internet connections. That's why folks at Google say they've launched the Google Go app.
The first billion users came from the West, and now the next billion users who will come from emerging markets are stepping onto the web. They need to come to a web that is built for them. And just because someone has a lower end device doesn't mean they don't want to experience the web the same way you and I do, or someone with a higher end device. So why should they miss out on the great experiences of the web just because the web wasn't built for them? We announced Google Go, which is a lighter, faster way to search. Essentially, we took the challenges that users faced, especially in emerging markets and continents like Africa, where they have spotty network connectivity, they have lower RAM devices or low storage devices, and built an app that allows them to experience Google and search the way everybody else does. So it's a tap solution where you don't actually have to keep typing, because often you find these smaller phones, the lower end phones, have smaller screens. So you don't need to keep typing. You can just tap. It gives you what the trending topics are as soon as you open the search bar. And you can image search by category. So you don't have to go, oh, I'm looking for like a nice quote or a GIF. It's already categorized for you. And then you can search per category for stuff.
Arabic tech startup is using gold to attract Islamic investors to cryptocurrency.
A local startup company founded last year, 1gram, is issuing a gold-backed cryptocurrency, part of efforts to convince Muslims that investing in cryptocurrencies complies with their faith. The global surge of interest in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other cryptocurrencies extends into the Gulf and Southeast Asia, the main centers of Islamic finance.
The big issues in crypto or digital tokens is the speculative element. So to reduce speculation, Islamic finance always has relied on an underlying asset. Right? Whether you look at Islamic loans, mortgages, cards, etc., there's always an underlying element. And by placing gold as the underlying element, we're creating a price floor, a minimum threshold. So there is an underlying physical element there.
Each 1-gram cryptocurrency unit is backed by at least a gram of physical gold stored in a vault. The idea is to limit speculation.
By just introducing a coin which is asset-backed, such as gold, this is absolutely no unique idea. We have many different coins on the market which are asset-backed. In some instances they are dollar-backed as well, like fiat currency backed altogether. Or you have coins on the market which are real estate-backed. So that will not be the key way to attract different investors. I think in order to attract investors, you have to have a disruptive technology.
The Saudi Arabian and UAE central banks warn their citizens about the risks of trading Bitcoin but have not imposed outright bans. That leaves Islamic investors to choose between sometimes conflicting judgments by scholars at advisory firms, financial companies, and academic institutions.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. After the break, we'll chat digital transformation in the mining sector. Jan-Adriaan is in studio for that one. Stay with us.
No. Yes. Yes.
Sports Live every Saturday and Sunday at 7:30 p.m.
Let's cross over live to Griselda Lewis, who is standing by at the arbitration hearing.
But I didn't think about it at the time that people could be dying.
Let's update your sports news.
Get all the dominating stories locally and globally on Newsroom every Monday to Friday from 9 a.m.
You're still on Network. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now, recently, Huawei launched its new flagship device. The Huawei P20 smartphone continues the company's tradition of using the brilliant Leica camera.
Giant Huawei advanced its consumer product offerings by launching its all-new Huawei P20 smartphone.
The technology is moving that fast. But, remember, we have different segments and we want to bring offerings to everybody and all consumers in South Africa. So P-Series that we're launching tonight has always been our flagship when it comes to fashion, photography and lifestyle. So that's what I guess when you're saying a whole lot of phones being launched, you're talking about the P-Smart of recent. And at that time, I even mentioned to you that we're bringing something in for the mid-segment that was affordable but gave them flagship functionality. But this time we are bringing a game changer, a real market changer when it comes to smartphone photography, and I think it's a complete different target market altogether.
The Huawei P20 Pro is equipped with the world's first Leica triple camera, with the highest total pixel count on a smartphone available in the market. This precise camera system comprises a 40-megapixel camera, a 120-megapixel monochrome sensor, and an 8-megapixel sensor with a telephoto lens.
We've created or reinvented photography when we brought in dual camera system, and we partnered with Leica back with our P9 device. And you see in the market, and our competitors started to follow suit. This time we're bringing in a triple lens camera system, but it's not just about 3 lenses. You guys might ask me, when does it stop? Tomorrow it'll be 4 lenses or 5. What does this mean? It's not just about the lens count. It's about what is the benefit to the consumer? How do they work together? And I think the key standout is smartphones has always been that. It's a smartphone that happens to have a camera. So if you want to take those shots now and then, occasionally that's what you do. But we know that not everybody carries a camera with them. Your smartphone is always with you in your pocket. So how about having a camera in your pocket that happens to have a smartphone on it?
The Huawei P20 and P20 Pro come pre-installed with the EMUI 8.1 based on Android 8.1, fully customizable with the A1 support and sophisticated security technology.
We have brought our 2 flagship to South Africa. For example, today we launched the P-Series, new P-Series, P20 and P20 Pro. And the second half of this year, we will bring our new Mate-Series to South Africa. So I believe, based on 2 flagship, we can get more market share for high-end market.
The all-new Huawei P20 series is a huge leap forward from the previous generation, blending technology and art to bring consumers an unprecedented experience. The recommended price for the P20 Pro is 15,499 Rand.
Right, now increasing productivity in the mining industry is always a challenge. This has to be done in ways that are safe for workers. That's where some say intelligent mining comes in. This includes introducing machines with robotic features. Joining me to talk about intelligent mining solutions and whether they help the industry is Jan-Adriaan Duplessis, Associate Director of Strategy and Operations at Deloitte in South Africa. Hello, and thank you for being a part of our network.
Listen, good to be here.
Now, which intelligent mining solutions are going to be a hit and are going to take over the mining industry?
So, Sipumulele, what we've done at Deloitte is we've started with the premise of looking at very specific pain points across the mining value chain and trying to find a combination of technologies that could potentially solve those pain points. Not finding a technology and looking for an application for that technology, which has been a tendency in the past. And it's often the combination of these technologies or the integration of these technologies that really solve a business problem. So what we've done is we focused on a few specific pain points, developed what we refer to as pre-configured solutions that really address these specific pain points across the value chain and allows mining companies to really focus on business problems and business outcomes when they invest invest in technology.
So this is what you've developed. But so then when you then approach the mining industry to say, this is what we have, are you willing to adopt it? Are they willing to listen?
I think mining has gone through years of belt tightening. And the whole approach of working harder for smaller gains is not really delivering the results that was sort of set out initially. So I think mining companies are very willing to adopt new technologies. They've also recognized the need to do that. We release a report annually, which is called Tracking the Trends in Mining, and it basically highlights the top 10 trends that will shape mining industry in the year ahead. And it basically comes from industry. It's a report for industry from the industry. In 2017, interestingly, digital transformation was on the list for the first time. This year it was number 1. So I think mining companies are definitely recognizing the need to invest in technology.
But there's always a worry when industries transform, and this is not just in the mining industry, it's all over the place. And when they adopt new technologies, they might take jobs away.
Sure. So if we look at history, what history tells us, technology advancement typically creates more jobs. So that's what history tells us. I think there will be some repurposing and upskilling required in certain areas. So the challenge is not to focus on how do we save jobs, but how do we upskill and repurpose jobs at the right time and in the required areas.
In the mining space with the guys that you are engaging, are you finding that is a need? Is that something that they're talking about, the repurposing and upskilling of their employees?
They definitely recognize that. I think there's so much value that can be realized by just doing your current work better, that it will take a bit of time before that really becomes a requirement. I think most of the mines in South Africa are deep-level underground operations, and just taking the lid of the operations and really understanding what's happening in your operations in real time will already deliver significant value without really changing anything or redesigning anything.
As you are introducing intelligent technologies into the mining sector, who is to ensure that there are smooth transitions? Is it you as the people who are saying, well, we have a solution for you? Is it the mining sector themselves? And how should they go about that?
So I think that's why we developed these pre-configured solutions. I think we want to really reduce the cost of pioneering solutions and accelerate the time to value realization. Because the difficult part is not implementing new technologies. The difficult part is transforming the organization, changing the ways of work. And that's where we really come in, and we really want to support organizations in driving that transformation, understanding where the change is required, what work will change, how work will change, how incentives need to change, etc.
You say you driving it.
We support organizations in that.
You support organizations in that. But the second part of my question was, how do you then go about starting? What's the starting block?
Okay, so there are two sort of logical areas to start. I think the most important thing is this must come from the top. It must be a leadership imperative. They must own the transformation. They must create dedicated capacity within the organization to drive this transformation. There must be a relentless focus on business outcomes and value, not on project outputs, as has been the case in the past. And then, obviously, supporting that must be a very robust workforce strategy. What does it mean in terms of the workforce in the workplace and the change implications in that? But definitely it must start with leadership.
And someone who is watching tonight and they say they now want to start, do they come straight to Deloitte, or what's to happen?
Well, we do have a sort of a permanent showcase of our solution. I think it's a good place to start. Just understand what these technologies can do and what problems they solve would be a good place to start. And then I think it's very important for leaders that really want to drive this transformation to set out and develop a clear transformation strategy, and then find one or two solutions that can really start driving this change.
Can any players in the mining sector say, well, we're not really interested, we'll stall the process for the next 5 to 10 years?
I think we obviously don't operate in isolation. Mining is a global ecosystem. It is now number 1 on the list, digital transformation, and companies that have started to move are moving very quickly. So I would say that there is a real imperative to change, and it might be a dangerous strategy to say that I'm going to sit back and wait for 5 to 10 years and see what happens.
All right, Jan-Adriaan du Plessis, thank you very much for being a part of our network.
Thank you very much.
We also caught up with comedian Dumiso Lindi, and he told us what his favorite technology is.
My name is Dumiso Lindi, aka the Rooster, all the way from Eastern Cape. So, my favorite piece of technology, I would say it's my phone. because I do everything on my phone. I don't have an office. My phone is my office. So the balakona, my notes for my jokes. If I have a spare of the moment joke, I write it on my notes. And also, it's just, Googling. Googling is in my hand now. Everything is right here. Social media. If I'm advertising my show, I just put a poster and it's all over, from Twitter, Instagram to Facebook. Just name it, it's there. So I really enjoy. Now you can actually create a poster on your phone using the apps. You can do a lot using apps. You don't even need Photoshop. You can just touch it up.
Shervin Bricebys, SABC News, New York.
Paul Barber, SABC News, London.
Ntebo Mokobo, SABC Ufa go tswa mono Russia.
Neha Punya, SABC News, Saharanpur in Uttar Pradesh in India.
Other than that, I've enjoyed every single moment of it.
SABC News, Soweto, Johannesburg.
When I was passing the casino, I said, that edge came, said, I'll just try, you never know. You might go home with 80,000, times 4 the amount that you have. And that stupid day, I lost all my money.
Never allow glamorous lifestyles to push you beyond your means.
The awakening moment was that 2007, when I left my children alone. I realized this is hurting me.
Ask for professional help if gambling is controlling you. Know when to stop.
I faced reality that, what, for you there's no quick reach, so you just have to work hard. So it's gone.
For all your uplifting stories, catch Bupilong every Friday at 17:30.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Thank you very much for joining us again. Now, Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg stood before the U.S. Congress to answer questions regarding the Cambridge Analytica data debacle. And a Japanese man makes his dream of building a gigantic robot come true. These are some of the stories that made tech headlines in the last week.
Mark Zuckerberg on Wednesday told lawmakers that he was among the 87 million or so Facebook Inc. users whose data was improperly shared with political consultancy Cambridge Analytica.
Mr. Zuckerberg, what is the difference between Facebook's methodology and the methodology of the American political pariah J. Edgar Hoover?
Congressman, this is an important question because I think people often ask what the difference is between surveillance and what we do, and I think that the difference is extremely clear, which is that on Facebook, you have control over your information. The content that you share, you put there. You can take it down at any time. The information that we collect, you can choose to have us not collect. You could delete any of it, and of course you can leave Facebook if you want.
Several protesters stood outside the U.S. Capitol on Wednesday, calling on passerbys to delete their Facebook accounts. Now off we go to Japan. Masaki Nagumo had always dreamed of riding inside his favorite giant anime robot, Gundam. Giant robots featured in a science fiction media franchise. Now his dreams have become reality with his latest creation, which he dubs the Land Walker Mononofu, LW Mononofu for short. A humanoid robot measuring 8.5 meters in height and weighing more than 7 metric tons.
I think there are a lot of people who want to take a ride on Gundam. It's not about wanting to make Gundam, but wanting to ride one if it existed. I think this can be turned into a business.
Though the Japanese anime franchise Gundam features robots in a militaristic setting, Nagumo says his creations are solely meant for amusement. And now in China. Shanghai scientists have invented the world's groundbreaking third type of storage technology with two-dimensional semiconductors, solving the problems of acquiring both data writing speed and non-volatile memories in semiconducting storage.
The traditional flash disks is based on the quantum tunneling theory to storage electric charges. There is a probability for electric charges to get into the storage layer, but our current technology is positively conductive. That's to say, it can get in after it pushes the door open. So it lowers energy waste, improves probability, and increases speed.
With the new technology, the storage duration of each disk can be tailor-made from 10 seconds to 10 years to solve the contradiction of data transmission and security in some special application scenarios. As a result, the data stored inside will be regularly emptied at an appointed time.
And today our Twitter poll is asking if you believe that social media networks will improve how they protect users' data. Now, only 20% of respondents say yes. The overwhelming majority of people who responded to our poll say no, they do not believe that. That figure is at 55%. And 19% of the people say no, or rather they say they do not know. And in last position are people who say this is not really important. And that's all we have for you. You can find us on SABC Network. Now that's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Let's continue the discussion after the program. We leave you with visuals of people taking pictures using an old-school camera in Egypt. From me and the rest of the network team, have a good one. It's bye-bye.